Water. Some of the earliest known creatures on Earth started out in the water. They eventually crawled onto land, and from then on, they came to conquer the world. These animals became more diverse and carved out different niches within their ecosystem. But surviving out here is far from easy. Only the strongest individuals survived, so that they can pass their genes on to the next generation, while the weaker individuals perished. One of the most ancient laws of nature is kill or be killed. But there's so much more to the natural world than just hunting and killing. Down by the dried-up riverbed, we see Kira and Orion. The island's population of Kentrosaurus and Oranosaurus are not typically seen together, but Orion and Kira have formed a mutualistic, symbiotic relationship. Oranosaurus have excellent eyesight, which is useful for spotting danger. By contrast, Kentrosaurus have poor eyesight, but they use their spiked tail to fend off any predator foolish enough to attack them. However, there is one predator that even they can't seem to evade. Parasites. This area is infested with ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, and other blood-sucking parasites. These parasites can make Kira and Orion weak from blood loss, as well as transmit deadly diseases to them. However, there is one surefire way to get rid of them. And that is taking a dust bath. However, Kira's preferred method is scratching up against a tree. In the arid grasslands, we see a herd of Pachysealosaurus, which is led by Stiggy, the Stygimoloch. Pachycephalosaurs are unique among dinosaurs for their thick skulls and crown of spikes located on the back of their heads and along their snouts. They use their thick skulls to protect themselves against predators and for headbutting each other, whether it's for mating rights, territory, or to get better access to food from others. This young male has his eye on a patch of greens that's already being occupied by Stiggy. To avoid serious conflict, Pachycephalosaurs will put on threat displays to intimidate their adversaries by swaying their heads from side to side, scraping the ground with their feet, as well as grunting, snorting, and squealing. But sometimes, intimidation isn't enough to deter rivals. And so, as a last resort, they fight. Luckily for the young male, fatalities from intraspecific combat are rare, and he lives to fight another day. In Pachycephalosaur society, it's always the strongest and most aggressive ones who are at the top of the pecking order. One of the most diverse groups of dinosaurs are the Ceratopsians. These animals come in a wide variety of different horns and frills. There's the majestic, Styracosaurus. With its long nasal horn and crown of spikes that adorn its frill. There's the unusual-looking Ionosaurus, with its forward-curving nasal horn. There's also the brutish Pachysealosaurus. This dinosaur doesn't have any horns. Instead, it possesses a large bony nasal boss, which it uses for self-defense, fighting with their own kind for territory and breeding rights. And for pushing others around. There's also the exquisite-looking Ceratopsians, which has a total of 15 horns adorning its head. And of course, we could not forget the most famous Ceratopsian of them all, the iconic Triceratops. With its two giant brow horns and tiny nasal horn, this is a force to be reckoned with. But perhaps one of the most fascinating Ceratopsians is without a doubt the Pachysealosaurus, more specifically, Zeus. A 5.5-ton behemoth with an impressive set of horns and a tall, elegant frill. The skull alone can measure anywhere from 7.5 to 10 feet in length, making it one of the largest skulls of any known land animal. All the other creatures give Zeus a wide berth, as no one wants to mess with this colossal beast. Down in the valley, we see a small family of Smilodon, or more commonly known as the saber-toothed cat. The pack is comprised of the dominant male Sabor, along with his sister Fang, and their brother Ocelot. Smilodon live in small, tightly knit social groups, just like lions, and they work together to bring down large prey. During the Pleistocene epoch, Smilodon would have hunted large, slow-moving mammals, such as bison, camels, and toxodon. However, since there aren't any other large mammals on the island, the cats have to resort to hunting small to medium-sized dinosaurs, or even young dinosaurs, like this juvenile Apatosaurus. During the Mesozoic era, most of the mammals that existed were no bigger than a possum. If it hadn't been for the cataclysmic events that wiped out all the non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago, none of the mammals we know today would ever exist. So the presence of big cats on the island feels somewhat out of place. Unfortunately for the Smilodons, they are the last of their kind. With such a small gene pool, it'll be next to impossible for these animals to create a healthy, viable population. Once these cats die out, they'll inevitably fall back into extinction. But until then, this pack will have to stick together if they're going to survive on an island dominated by their scaly, archosaurian neighbors. But they're not the only thing the Smilodons need to worry about, as a new predator has entered their domain. A predator far more dangerous than any dinosaur on the island.